When working within Polarion and using test runs and test cases and test steps, there is a very, very useful feature of test step parameters. Now, what we've seen so far, if I go on to the example we were using earlier of verifying that the wheel has 6 spokes, what we can see here is we have our test steps that are available. If I edit this work item, within our test steps, we can actually add in something called a test case parameter. So what we can see here is attach the wheel to the vehicle. I'm going to add in a parameter of size. If I put in our parameter here, and I can add a new one, and I can add this to the library as well for use later on within the project. We can see here that we can obtain the wheel, attach the size wheel to the vehicle, and then we're going to look and see that it has 6 spokes. Within this test case now, we have this parameter added. If I save this, we'll now start to see that within our test run that we're working with, of our demonstration test run, we can see now that we have this test parameters, this iterations being added. And we can see here that we can actually add in the size in this case. If I add in one iteration of 16-inch, I'll add in another one of 17-inch and another one of 18-inch for our different wheel sizes. We can see now, if I save this, and if I refresh my work item within here, that we can actually see within our test that we now have different iterations added in. So we can now see that for iteration 1, we have our 16-inch wheel. For iteration 2, we can now see that we have our 17-inch wheel. And for iteration 3, we can now see that we have our 18-inch wheel. This is a great piece of functionality to prevent you from having to create a different test case for every single parameter that you might want to set. Imagine having 3 different test cases created that you then have to have the upkeep of and make sure that they're all verifying the particular requirement. Within here, we don't have the upkeep now. We can see that we've got 3 different iterations to perform within our test run. So we can actually go through, add these in. We can also now see that within our test run results that we now have 7 waiting and 1 executed. So we can add these in to say that these are passed. So we can now see that we've passed it for our 16 inches, but for our 17 inches, perhaps we're actually going to fail this one. We can now see very, very quickly, going back to our overview of our test run, that we do have those 2 that are passed, 1 that's failed, 3 that have been executed in total, and 5 that are still waiting. So we can see those there. We can then see the results of what's been failed within there as well. So it's very, very quick and easy to use those test case parameters within Polarion.